Let me record it. Let me just record this whole lesson so those who are missing could see. Data presentation and the generic data types that we discussed in our A1 were, bolne ji please.
Character,
Okay, character, text,
string,
yeah, in other words, string.
integer,
Uh,
or double.
let me just put number for integer, and then there were real,
Boolean.
and then there was Boolean.
Boolean.
So these were some common data types which we call or say as built-in data types available in many programming languages. But there are problems where these built-in data types are not enough. So programming languages provide us some ways, methodology. With the help of that, we can create our own data types. We call it user defined data types. User defined data types. Now, there are two types of user defined data types. One is known as non-composite data type. In non-composite data types, we are going to look into two. One is known as enumerated, and the other is known as pointers.
सर
So
इसकी स्पेलिंग क्या है?
ENUMARATED, enumerated.
Okay, thank you.
And for the description, you can write like something this: non-composite data types are the one which uses some kind of constant values and no built-in data types are used. This is a brief description about non-composite data types.
So repeat please.
You can see, you can go through again, Kamar कह रहा हूँ, वकार वीडियो में दोबारा देख लीजिएगा, ठीक है? Now, the other one is composite data type. Here we'll look into record type. We'll look into classes and objects. And we'll also briefly look into sets. These are composite data types.
सर अभी आपने एक्सप्लेन किया ये कॉम्पोजिट नॉन कॉम्पोजिट क्या होता है?
Let's discuss first non-composite data type, and we'll look into enumerated. Enumerated data type. Now, as I said, enumerated, when there is a scenario in an exam question, or when a situation comes that programmer has to use some constants. Like, for example, I want to write a program, and in that program, I am using some constant like this, constant Monday as one, constant Tuesday as two, constant Wednesday as three, and so on, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I know that Monday is never going to be changed, and Sunday is also never going to be changed. So I can I'm using constant that you know from your AS. So Thursday, and then Friday, and then Saturday, and then the last Sunday. Now, instead of doing this, we are allowed to create a user-defined data type in which we'll list down these as an enumerated data type. If students or a programmer doesn't feel like they want to use this, they are allowed to use any other technique if they want. But if they want to code using enumerated data type, they always have this feature to code using enumerated data type, and then from that enumerated data type, they can create their own variables. Now, this is something very common that comes in exams, and this will be part of question, not a full-fledged separate question. It will be part of normally a record type and classes. In this, you will find a question upon enumerated data type. Now इसको once for all देख ले, इसका usage क्या होता है. हम लोगों में कुछ लोगों ने आपने last year अपनी कंसोल्स को कलर किया था और वहां पे देखा था इसको. तो अभी हम उसको दोबारा ट्राई करते हैं, अब हमें नजर आ जाए, मैं आपको कोड करके भी दिखाऊंगा. Now in pseudocode exam में it is coded something like this, that if I instead of creating constants like this, what I can do is I can create a day data type, a D data type, and in that I just list down without double quotes. I'm putting no double quotes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. Pseudocode, we write it like this in exam mostly. The other way is, just hold on. Okay. The other way is that you will find in your books that you write write this whole pseudocode instead of like this, type day. So this is a user defined user defined type I'm creating, and in that I'm listing down Monday like this, Tuesday like this, Wednesday like this, and so on, Sunday, and done. End. So in exam, when you see, you have to figure it out in exam. That when examiner is saying that create an enumerated data type, create a data type, which has sometimes examiner mention the word enumerated data type. Sometimes examiner is not mentioning the word. But if you see a situation like that you have a list of values that are always going to come within, always be chosen within that, like days, like months, like we have student category, A levels, O levels, class 9, 10, 11, kind of. There is no other option in us in our campus. Students will be what is the student current class? So the current class will be either 9, 10, 11, A1, A2. So when we see kind of situation, so we can do it like this. Now we can also give a starting value, or we can code it like this. As you know that in days, the first is Monday and the last is Sunday, 7. Likewise, if we have months, if I create a data type for months, month, so it will start from January, and which is always 1, and will go till December, which is always has a value of 12. If I'm having kind of some validation rules to be implemented on these data types, so some kind of a range exists, we can also use an enumerated data type. I'll show you in a while how to do about that. But let's first
सर ये कौन सी लैंग्वेज है
sorry,
सर ये कौन सी लैंग्वेज है
ये सूडो कोड में लिख रहा हूँ मैं सारा कुछ.
अच्छा जी
सूडो कोड स्क्रीन पे लिखना आसान नहीं है. सूडो कोड, ठीक है. Now let me show you on vb.net. देख लूँ किसी ने कुछ मैसेज किया है तो क्या कह रहा है. समीर जुहेर लिख रहा है जी सर मेरी तबीयत खराब है and I feel like vomiting so I can leave please you can जी जुहेर take your time.
सर तुम्हें मैं लिख पढ़ दूं तबीयत बड़ी खराब है
जी
मेरी.
जी बेटा चले जाओ.
सर ओके सर खुदा हाफिज.
Okay. अच्छा जी. Now let me share Visual Studio and show you that how we are going to code a situation like this when it appears in exam. Now that was pseudocode. In VB, if I want to create a non-composite data type enumerated, I'll use the word enum and I'll say day because the example we were using was day. And here I'm going to just list down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. That's it. That's how we create our data type. And if I want to create a variable of such data type, it's same as we were earlier creating variables. Them. Let's suppose I'm creating day 1 as variable as day data type. Now, when I'll be assigning this day 1 some value, so you see over here all those available values are listed down. Monday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. Now you have seen this that when you were using console.background and foreground का जब आप क्लास में A1 में किया था तो ये देखें black, blue, cyan, magenta ये options already यहाँ पर आ रहे थे. It is same thing. These console colors cyan, magenta are used as enumerated data type in our example over here. So one thing we have to discuss more, when we do not use some constant values ourselves in this, so VB automatically use Monday as 0 then. But if I say Monday is 1, as you can see on the screen, then it will automatically put Tuesday as 2 and automatically Sunday as 7. So I have to just give one starting constant value as 1 because no, जो actually यहाँ पर variables को day 1 को जो value assign हो रही है वो ये numeric value assign हो रही है. यहाँ लिखा तो Monday, Friday, Saturday ही आ रहे हैं, बट बैक एंड के ऊपर वो वैल्यू साइन हो रही है जो हमने ऊपर दी हुई होंगी. So if I'm not giving any value like this
Sir,
0, so अभी लेता हूँ क्वेश्चन 0, फिर यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि यहाँ पे जो मंडे है एक्चुअली वो 0 से स्टार्ट हो रहा है. तो मंडे एक्चुअली 0 से स्टार्ट हो रहा है यहाँ पर. जी
सर मैं पूछ रहा था, इनका भी वो स्कोप होगा कि ग्लोबल डिक्लेयर्ड डाटा टाइप है या फिर
yes
लोकल, इसमें भी होगा?
yes the the user defined types are always declared in global area, and these variables can be declared anywhere wherever we want. It depends on our program and solution, either globally or locally. So but this is what it is. Whenever we want to create an enumerated data type of anything, like मैंने 2-3 एग्जांपल और की थी, तो मैं यहाँ पे एक और एग्जांपल की कर लेता हूँ. लाइक आई वांट टू क्रिएट मंथ्स, तो वो मंथ्स की भी ऐसे होगी जिस तरह से आप देख रहे हैं. इफ आई वांट टू क्रिएट अ स्टूडेंट क्लास फॉर एग्जांपल, enumerated data type, enum data type, and I want to say at st class, and the classes will be a1, a2, and let me just list down 11, 10, and 9. So this is, let me put it as 1. So this will automatically get 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's how we do this in our VB. And there is a rare chance that enumerated data type question could come in VB coding में आ जाए वो paper 4 के अंदर. Normally it comes as a part of pseudocode, and और वो भी एक सब पार्ट के तौर पे आता है. No more than 2 or 3 marks से ज़्यादा इस क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा. And this is the whole complete coding that we record. Then let's suppose if I want to create a variable, I'll say dim. I want to create a variable of st class type. So I'll say st class 1 कोई variable, let's suppose मैं बनाता हूँ. So I can access as st class. अब मैं अगर इस st class 1 को कोई वैल्यू साइन करना चाहता हूँ जो कि वेरिएबल मैंने बनाया है st class टाइप का, ये st class टाइप मेरी डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप है, तो मैं 9 उसको दे रहा हूँ. अभी जब हम इंशाल्लाह स्ट्रक्चर करेंगे तो उसमें इसका यूज आएगा, तो और ज्यादा क्लैरिटी हो जाएगी हमें कि व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ एनिमेटेड डेटा टाइप एंड वेयर वी विल बी यूजिंग इट. जब तक ये सिनेरियो बेस्ड क्वेश्चन नहीं आता तो समझ नहीं आता. बट लेकिन आपको सिर्फ इतना एनिमेटेड डेटा टाइप में समझना क्या है कि हाउ वी क्रिएट इट. So let me annotate over here. That's how we create a data type, and that's an enumerated data type. And this is the way we create enumerated data type variable. And this is how we assign some values to kind of variables. So now let's go back to our pseudocode and let's check के हम उसको दोबारा फिर देखते हैं और examples के साथ. Now let's say in examiner mentions there is a situation that house number or instead of house, let me take student marks. Student marks are going to be in the range of 1 to 100 that you see normally. So what you do here, that in pseudocode you write it something like this. So student marks, a new data type I'm creating, and I'll write it like this, 1 to 100. That's it. So this is what we need to do as a pseudocode when we're using enumerated data type. Let me show you again. When we will be writing a pseudocode, we have to use either this technique of pseudocode, this, or this one. Preferably this one, because this question will come as a part of another question, and this will have maximum 1 mark or the maximum 2 marks. So keep this in your understanding. Now the next user-defined data type, I'll solve past papers inshallah today, so you won't have that much problem in this question left, inshallah. It's a very small topic. We don't have to give much more time than this that we have given. Then there is another data type, pointers. And this we are going to only look into at the moment using our pseudocode. We are not required to look this into any programming language, because in VB we don't have pointers. And how we will implement pointers in VB, that we'll see when we'll be working in data structures. We'll see that how we can use pointers in VB. So here we are looking into another non-composite data type, which is known as pointers. Now what happens in pointers, that pointer variables are created. Pointer variables are created, and these variables hold address of another variable. In simple words, you say that these pointer variables point to some other variables. Now, if you remember, I think you remember when we were doing recorded. Let me read this question again. The user-defined data type, my content detail, needs to be modified by adding a field called area, which can take 3 values: uptown, downtown, or midtown. Amending the field house numbers so the house numbers can only be in the range of 1 to 499. So from here you can understand this, as I just taught you, that when you are given a list and that list is the only that list options are the only choices that we can assign to area, and when you see a range of values are only we can assign, and these are the validated validation setting, so we have to think of enumerated data type. Now here examiner is saying us to modify this. एक तो वो एक नई फील्ड ऐड करने के लिए कह रहा है यहाँ पर इस लोकेशन के ऊपर, एंड सेकेंडली वो कह रहा है कि जो हाउस नंबर फील्ड है उसको मॉडिफाई करें. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this structure, although you haven't studied structure yet, क्योंकि वो composite data type वो बाद में आती है. So what I'm doing is I'm changing this type contact detail. Type contact detail. You are not, I don't want you to concentrate on the structure, because हमने क्या कहा था कि नॉन कॉम्पोजिट डेट में बिल्ट इन वैल्यूज नहीं होती हैं. तो यहाँ पे तो अगर आप देखें ये एक बिल्ट इन वैल्यू आ रही है, स्ट्रिंग डिक्लेयर नेम. सो ये कहाँ पर होता है, ये स्ट्रक्चर में होता है, रिकॉर्ड टाइप में होता है, वो अभी हम थोड़ी देर में उसको देखते हैं. So the fields that examiner is saying us to add is one area. तो ऊपर वाली field के लिए तो मैं जगह छोड़ देता हूँ, वो जो name के लिए field है वो ऐसी आ रही होगी. And the enumerated data type that I have to create over here in pseudocode is this area. And simply I'm going to write down uptown, downtown, and make sure you write in small letters, and midtowns. And no double quotes, because these are not string, these are some constant values. And for house number, I'll just write this 1 to 499. That's it. This what was required. But I wanted to show you what is enumerated data type here, as said in question, and what we have to do. We have to find out only a list of values which are to be given to variable, and then there is a range of values which are allowed. So when you see kind of a question, you just have to create an enumerated data type, In pseudocode, I've done it like this. VB code, I've shown you how to do that. Let me look into another.
सर आपने
सर ये पॉइंटर्स हैं?
नहीं, पॉइंटर तो मैंने पढ़ा ही नहीं अभी.
अच्छा,
ये तो हम एनएम पढ़ रहे हैं, एनुमरेटेड डेटा टाइप. पॉइंटर कब शुरू कराया मैंने? पॉइंटर नहीं शुरू कराया. लेट मी गो एंड सी अनदर क्वेश्चन, शो यू अनदर क्वेश्चन. ये पॉइंटर का क्वेश्चन भी आ रहा है, अभी हम करते हैं. ओके, now here again is them saying consider the user defined type library book, library book record, and here it says part B में the user defined data type library book record needs to be modified by adding the following fields. A field called genre which can take two values. Here again they can list of items are either fiction or non-fiction. So when we have such a situation, what we are going to do, we are going to modify our structure जो कह रहा है ऊपर, type library book record structure अभी हम पढ़ते हैं. अभी हम सिर्फ देख रहे हैं enumerated drive. So ये दो enum हमने create करने हैं. What I will do with that, I'll just say, sorry, equals to fiction and non-fiction. And for number of loans, because there is a limit to it, which can be between 1 and 99, so I'll write 1 to 99. That's it. Full marks, 100 out of 100, 3 marks. N type. Yeah, you must write these words as it is.
सर ये आपने VB में नहीं लिख के दिखाया था?
जी VB में भी लिख के दिखाया था, अभी days का और month का किया था. So as I'm telling, there is a rare chance, only 0.1% chance that enumerated data type is examiner asks you to write the code in VB. It will be part of record type questions, यानी कि composite type जो हमने बात की थी, and classes में आएगा ये. इससे ज़्यादा इसका question नहीं है हमारे इसमें. So this is what composite data type, a non-composite data type, and enumerated data type. Now let's come on to pointers. What are pointers? As I started, pointers, pointer variables, pointer, let me just erase this. Pointer variables are created for the purpose they hold address of another variable. Let me add just a word over here. So these variables hold address of another variable. So what pointer variables do? Pointer variables point to another variable. So what happens when I create a pointer variable, a box creates and it holds the address of another variable like FFA1, and this is my RAM, for example, and it has some more variables FFA1. So what happens when I do something with this variable, actually this variable gets modified. So this is the function of pointer variables, and these are very important. And again, these in P3 you will not be asked to code. You will be only asked to look what happens to pointer variables and what happens to a memory dump when some code is executed and that code has some pointer variables. And also in examiner tell you that how you are going to identify that this variable is a pointer variable. Some kind of a symbols like this one or this one is used. Sometimes this symbol is used, Sometime this symbol is used. So examiner will give you some explanation about these symbols. Now, for example, I say that I have two variables. One is a1 and the other is a2, and I have given a1 the address of a2. So whatever I will do with a1, actually what will happen, that the same thing will happen with a2. Now let's say if I say a1 equals to, let me give a pseudocode symbol, a1 equals to 22. Now what will happen? Actually this will become 22. If I say a1 equals to 0, so this will become 0. But how? These symbols will be used, and then our pointed variable content will be modified. So there are some symbols, like मैं अब यहाँ पे एक symbol कह लेता हूँ star, और एक symbol use कर लेता हूँ sterling का, ठीक है? So if I say a1 equals to sterling a2, यहाँ पे इसका मतलब ये हो रहा होगा कि this symbol is used for assigning address, and this symbol is used for pointing. So when I use this instruction, what happens? A1 gets the address of A2. So as you see over here, when this line got executed, so A1 got address of A2. And now if I say A1 this equals to 22. So what will happen? Actually, this means assign 22 to the address pointed by A1. इसका ये मतलब है, और अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है कि जो हमारे पास यहाँ पर सेल A1 है उसके अंदर 22 आ जाता है. Now let me show you some questions, and then it will become very easy for you to understand, because these are this is a very simple topic. Now let me show you from here. A pointer variable that stores the address of a variable of a particular type. Consider the pseudocode on page 3, which uses the following identifiers. Pointer tables का data type वही होगी जो कि जिस variable को वो point कर रहा है. Now you say here a variable is created I pointer. I pointer की data type क्या है? Integer है, because जिस variable को ये point करेगा वो integer type का होगा, इसलिए data type integer है. लेकिन this is a pointer variable. How? Because this is holding this variable. So this variable here is saying that it's a pointer variable. And then some variable is as integer, and my integer as integer, and my integer 2 is integer. So there is only one variable, I pointer, is shown here or is used here as a pointer variable. Now let's see what is happening in the code. Sum is equals to 91. You all know what happens when we run an assignment statement. So here it is written. See how simple it is explained in exam itself. Now after going through those instructions, there is nobody who can say मुझसे question नहीं हुआ. Mostly students do this. Assigns the value 91 to the integer variable sum. So sum को 91 assign हो गया. You understand that? हो जाएगा. I pointer is assigned sum. ये क्या कह रहा है? Assigns to the I pointer the address of the integer variable sum. यानी कि जो sum का address है memory में वो I pointer को assign कर दो. Okay. My integer 1 is assigned what I pointer is pointing to. यानी कि क्या कह रहे हैं कि I pointer जिस address को point कर रहा है उस pointer के अंदर जो value है वो my integer को दे दो. And here it is explained. Assigns to the variable my integer the value at an address pointed at by I pointer. और यहाँ क्या कह रहा है? I pointer का जो pointed location है उसको my integer 2 दे दो. So what is happening? Assigns the value in the variable my integer 2 to the memory location pointed by the I pointer. तो ये instructions हमें जब समझ आएंगी तब हम इन questions को कर सकेंगे. Now let me reduce and show you that how examiner is doing this question.
सर लेकिन इससे फायदा क्या होना है?
इसका फायदा क्या होना है? Sometimes programmer doesn't know that which variable will be accessed by the variable. Sorry, by the program. So when you do not know, a situation occurs when you do not know that the value that you will be picking or the program will be picking can't be defined beforehand. In that case, we create variables and we code our program in a way that whichever variable will be holding the value, the I pointer will hold the address of that variable, and then this variable will be used to show that final result. मिसाल के तौर पे मैं कहता हूँ 5 cars are running and all those are running. We do not know which car will be assigned the winning value, and those cars are somehow storing their time. So when they come all at the finishing point, those one of those who would have got the least time definitely is winner. So that variable's address will be assigned to I pointer, and I pointer will tell automatically that this car has won. So kind of situation occurs where we want the program to automatically identify that which variable stores the final value. So there we see these variables a very useful approach, and we'll be looking this in greater detail in paper 4, and this pointer will become headache for us. So यहाँ पर हम बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे जाके इसको समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि पॉइंटर वेरिएबल्स किस तरह से काम करेंगे. Now let me reduce, and अगर आपको बड़ा जा रहा हो तो आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे क्या होगा इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर. मैं देखता हूँ कि F11 से अगर हमारा स्क्रीन बड़ी हो जाए. ओके या ठीक है. ओके okay, now what is examiner saying? The 4 assignments, I'm let me just annotate. मैं यहाँ पर हूँ. The 4 assignments are executed. The program shows the memory contents. ठीक है जी? After execution. Now नीचे examiner कह रहा है show the diagram, use the diagram to state the current values of these following expressions. कि ये 4 जो नीचे expressions हैं इनकी क्या values होंगी after the execution of this whole code. ये चारों जब हम execute कर देंगे तो क्या values होंगी हमारे इन variables की. ये पूरा code execute हो जाएगा. Now we understand that this code has been executed and the screen dump is showing us these values now. So थोड़ा सा मैं अपनी स्क्रीन को सेट कर लूँ. ओके ताकि मुझे यहाँ से पूरा नजर आ जाए. Things are getting hidden. Okay. Now कहते हैं कि what is the value of I pointer? Now if you see, look over here, the I pointer's value is what? I pointer's value is 4402. I'll simply write over here 4402. Then it says what is the I pointer is pointing to what value? So if I come over here, I pointer is pointing to this address, and this address contains 33. So I will write 33 over. ठीक है ना? हमारा ये कोड एग्जीक्यूट हो गया है. ठीक है? एग्जीक्यूट होने के बाद जो हमारा मेमोरी डंप है वो ये बता रहा है. अब वो कह रहा है एग्जामिनर के बताओ कि आई पॉइंटर की क्या वैल्यू है. तो यहाँ से मुझे साफ नजर आ रहा है कि आई पॉइंटर की वैल्यू 4402 है. और फिर नीचे नेक्स्ट में क्या कह रहा है? आई पॉइंटर इज पॉइंटिंग टू व्हाट वैल्यू? So I pointer is pointing to 4402, and that 4402 is pointing to is containing 33. So that is what mentioned over here. ये यहाँ पर ये इस जगह पर. और इस जगह पर। ये सिंबल क्या कर रहा है? ये सिंबल कर रहा है कि आई पॉइंटर के अंदर जो एड्रेस है इसकी वैल्यू को मैनिपुलेट कर रहा है। एक जगह उसको उस वैल्यू को असाइन कर रहा है और दूसरी जगह उस वैल्यू को, आई पॉइंटर के उस एड्रेस को वैल्यू असाइन कर रहा है। सो अगर ये लास्ट वाला, सेकंड लास्ट अगर देखें, ये क्या कह रहा है? ऊपर यहाँ पे बताया हुआ है कि एट द रेट का पर्पस क्या होगा? एट द रेट साइन का पर्पस होगा कि एड्रेस आप असाइन करवाएं किसी एक वेरिएबल का किसी वेरिएबल को। सो एट द रेट माई इंटीजर 1, एट द रेट माई इंटीजर 1 का एड्रेस क्या है? ये यहाँ हम लिखेंगे 3427 एंड इन द लास्ट ये कह रहे हैं कि कंपेयर करो माई इंटीजर, कंपेयर करो माई इंटीजर की पॉइंटेड वैल्यू को आई पॉइंटर की पॉइंटेड वैल्यू को विद माई इंटीजर 2 की वैल्यू के साथ। लेट मी erase all this. Now we know that कि माई इंटीजर आई पॉइंटर की जो पॉइंटेड वैल्यू है दैट इज इक्वल टू 33 और माई इंटीजर की वैल्यू 91 है, विच इज नॉट इक्वल। तो इसका मतलब है यहाँ पर मेरी आंसर आ रहा है फॉल्स। लेट मी सॉल्व अनदर क्वेश्चन और फिर थोड़ा सा बेहतर और चीजें आएंगी। नीचे मुझे जाने दें।
वो माई इन 2 है,
माई इंटी 2 था,
वो 2
सॉरी माई इंटीजर 1 ले लिया मैंने। हाँ
2
वो
आता
2
है।
था, ओके ट्रू आने वाला। थैंक यू मोहम्मद हसन, यहाँ ट्रू आएगा। वेरी गुड। मैं इसको 1, मेरी आई साइड शायद प्रॉब्लम कर रही है, मैंने इसको 1 वेरिएबल 1 ले लिया था, ये वेरिएबल 2 लिखा, माई इंटीजर 2 लिखा हुआ है।
सर ये दोबारा से एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे, वो मेरा
मैं
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था,
मैं
लाइट चली गई थी।
मैं दूसरा क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ, उसको देखें, इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग भी हो रही है। Now let's come again on the second question. It says again, a pointer is a variable that stores the address of a variable of a particular type. Consider the code on page 3 which uses the following identifiers. Integer pointer to pointer to an integer, और 3 variables दे रहा है, integer variable, integer, temp1 and temp2 are also integer variables. In the pseudocode it says इंटीजर वेरिएबल, ये याद रखें कि ये हमारा जो एरो साइन है ये सिंबल है, और नीचे जो आ रहा था वो कंपैरिजन ऑपरेटर आ रहा था इक्वल्स टू, वो असाइनमेंट सिंबल नहीं था। इंटीजर वेरिएबल इज 57। इसका क्या मतलब होगा? आप सबको बहुत अच्छी तरह से पता है कि इस स्टेटमेंट का मतलब है कि 57 को असाइन कर दो इंटीजर वेरिएबल को। इस स्टेटमेंट का मतलब है कि जो वेरिएबल इंटीजर वेरिएबल है इसका जो एड्रेस है वो आई पॉइंटर को दे दो। यहाँ पर जो सिंबल एट द रेट साइन है वो इसलिए यूज हो रहा है। और यहाँ पे क्या कह रहे हैं कि इंटीजर पॉइंटर जिस वेरिएबल का एड्रेस रखता है उस वेरिएबल की जो पॉइंटेड वैल्यू है वो temp2 को असाइन कर दो। और यहाँ क्या कह रहा है? इंटीजर वेरिएबल जिस वेरिएबल को असाइन कर रहा है उसकी वैल्यू क्या कर दो? temp1 कर दो। So when this code gets executed, we see some memory dump. Now examiner is saying here that after the execution of this code, there are some changes in our memory dump. Use the diagram to state the current values of the following 4 expressions. Now यहाँ सबसे पहले क्या कह रहा है? What is the address of temp2? ये पूछ रहा है हमसे। So if I come over temp2, the address of temp2 is 6715. Integer pointer की वैल्यू पूछ रहा है। This is integer pointer, इसकी वैल्यू 8216. I simply write here 8216. Here it says the integer pointer का जो एड्रेस है, जो उसके अंदर एड्रेस है उसकी वैल्यू को शो करो। तो इंटीजर पॉइंटर के अंदर है 8216। 8216 एड्रेस कहाँ है हमारे पास? ये है ऊपर। इसके अंदर वैल्यू क्या है? 88, वो हमने यहाँ लिखनी थी। और यहाँ क्या कह रहे हैं? कि इंटीजर पॉइंटर के एड्रेस के अंदर जो वैल्यू है क्या वो इक्वल है 10 + 2 + 6 के? तो इंटीजर पॉइंटर की पॉइंटेड वैल्यू तो है 88. इज इट इक्वल्स टू 10 2 + 6? 10 2 में 57 + 6 63 है. So this is not equal. So here it is false. These are the maximum questions that you see in P3 paper about pointer variables. G.